that floods have gotten worse because of climate change. They are hoping that the national government will help build a dike in the area.
Makapaglagay po ng ring dike to really protect our town and our neighboring town, the town of Macabebe. At kapag po nasara na po ng ring dike ang aming bayan, we must install pumping stations to pump out the water outside sa river to really safeguard and secure the two towns mentioned.
And for motorists heading to the NLEX, pack a lot of patience, guys. Expect slow-moving traffic at the northbound lane, beginning at the Santa Rita exit. The flood along the San Simon exit has gone down, but not enough to ease congestion.
Meanwhile, villages up north in Benguet and Bulacan are being urged to prepare for possible flooding, with major dams expected to continue discharging water. Days of non-stop rainfall managed to fill up major reservoirs in Luzon, but now that the water volume has exceeded normal amounts, several dams have started releasing water. Right now, officials are keeping a close eye on the Ipo Dam in Bulacan and the Ambuklao and Binga Dam in Benguet, all of which are close to hitting their spilling level.
Now, the Senate is also looking to expand its investigation into these severe flooding incidents across Luzon. Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva said even President Marcos wants to get down to the bottom of this. Villanueva said current flood control measures are not working as well as they should. The Senate is looking to resume its hearing next Wednesday, and topics include coming up with an integrated flood control master plan and the proposed Department of Water Resources.
Because he said, yeah, please go for it and let us know kung ano yung maging bunga ng inyong pagdinig. Sa Department of Water yung pagkakaroon ng integrated water resource management naman. So yun yung titignan natin kung pag-iisahin lang ba natin yon or another piece of legislation.
So we've heard from the Senate. Time to get updates from the executive branch. We have Maricel Halili for that. Go ahead, Mase.
Shawn, just like what Senator Joel Villanueva mentioned, President Marcos has expressed concern over heavy flooding in the country. Malacanang said over 200 billion pesos has been allocated for flood control projects under the DPWH. That's higher compared to this year's flood control budget of 185 billion pesos. The MMDA will have a separate budget of 1.3 billion pesos for flood mitigation. There's also foreign assisted projects in the pipeline and more than half a trillion pesos earmarked for projects addressing climate change. We can recall that President Marcos has been vocal about climate change issues. It's been mentioned in his State of the Nation address since last year. So let's see how these projects play out. Shawn?
Okay, we'll see indeed. Thank you for that, Maricel Halili.
Well, Reg and Shawn, we were talking to our reporter this week, Gio Robles, and he said that it might take about 3 weeks for the floods to subside in Bulacan, dun sa Hagonoy specifically. And what I find funny, kanina we were reading also a piece of news saying that most of the damage has been to the flood control structures. So it's definitely worth looking into. But apart from those structures, speaking of damage, a wide stretch of EDSA will undergo repairs starting tonight until Wednesday next week. Let's get more details on that from Faith Del Mundo, who's joining us live from Quezon City. Good evening, Faith.
Yes, good evening, Gretchen.
All right, we're hearing that the damage to EDSA has been caused by the rains over Typhoon Egay, Typhoon Falcon. Can you clarify with us, ano ba talaga yung repairs na gagawin dyan? Itong mga nakaraang linggo lang ba nangyari yung damage na yon?
Yes, Gretchen, no, tama ka nga dyan. No? Simula nga mamayang gabi, alas 10 ng gabi hanggang Wednesday. Yan ay sa August 9, magkakaroon ng emergency repair dito sa EDSA. Kaya nga asahan na mas mabigat yung daloy ng trapiko. At ang gagawin, sabay-sabay yan, 15 sections sa EDSA northbound and sa southbound. At yan ay simula sa stretch ng Balintawak hanggang sa Buendia. So dahil tuloy-tuloy yan, ay asahan din na mabigat yung daloy ng trapiko. 24/7 naman yung DPWH na gagawin. Ito ay tinatawag nila na one-time, big time. Dahil kung gagawin nga raw nila ng sa weekends lamang, ay talagang mas matagal pa at mas maperwisyo pa raw to dun sa mga motorista natin. Gretchen?
Faith, this is Regina. No, obviously this will cause more traffic, which is the last thing that motorists want to hear. Anong plano ng MMDA at DOTR in terms of addressing the expected traffic?
Yes, Regina, ang plano naman ng MMDA, they were actually add personnel. So there are 650 personnel, MMDA personnel that will man the construction, while DPWH will actually do their job as in their construction is 24/7. So they will add more man so that the construction or the traffic will be actually manned. Regina?
Right. Hi, F. Si Shawn to. F, grabe hanggang Muñoz daw halos buong kahabaan ng EDSA maapektuhan nito, no? At ang advice nga nila ay iwasan ng EDSA kung may mga lakad kayo over the weekend at hanggang Monday, Tuesday. Saan ba pwedeng dumaan apart from hindi sa EDSA?
Mahirap yun eh.
Mahirap yun.
Yes, tama ka dyan, Shawn, no? Kaya ngayon pa nga lang, dito na sa may North EDSA, may kabigatan na yung daloy ng trapiko. So, mas expect natin, dodoble pa yung bigat ng daloy ng trapiko. Kaya nga payo natin na wag na nga munang dumaan sa EDSA. So, meron mga mabuhay lanes, mga alternatibong ruta na pwedeng daanan. So, nagbigay nga yung MMDA. So, ito yung mga binigay nila aside dun sa mabuhay lanes. So, for vehicles in south, so there are 5 on-ramp routes including Skyway and Lex Balintawak ramp, Quezon Avenue, Nagtahan, and Sobel Buendia. Off-ramp routes is in NAIA 1 to NAIA 3, Doña Soledad, Dr. Santos, Alabang Zapote, and SLEX Elevated Extension. And for northbound, there are 7 alternative routes including Quirino, Nagtahan, and Quezon Avenue, and 10 off-ramp routes in alternate routes.
Wait, lilinawin ko lang, no? Oo, ano kaya yung cause? Ano ba yung na-damage talaga dyan? What do they need to repair?
Yes, Gretchen, no? Ayon nga sa DPWH kay Secretary Bonoan, ang sabi niya, dahil nga sa mga pag-ulan-ulan, sa mga bagyo, katulad nga ng bagyong Egay at sa mga ulan na dahil nga sa habagat, ay nasira nga yung maraming dito sa ating EDSA, dito sa kahabaan ng EDSA. So merong mga lubak, merong mga potholes na gagawin ang DPWH. Gretchen?
Right, F. So, gawa ng itong mga construction at one-time, big-time na road repair sa mga bitak sa EDSA, for sure, hahaba ang pila sa EDSA busway or EDSA carousel. Ano ang plano ng gobyerno para doon sa mga pasaherong maantala?
Yes, tama ka dyan, Shawn, no? Nakausap natin yung mga ibang pasahero yung sa EDSA Bus Carousel. Ang gagawin naman nila, magpupunta din sila sa MRT para nga iwas nga sila sa abala at iwas nun sa trapiko. Ang MRT management naman, ang ginawa nila ay nakahanda naman yung kanilang MRT3 at magkakaroon nga sila meron nga silang 72 na bagon o trains na ginagamit. So, ibig sabihin daw niyan, nasa 500,000 or kalahating milyon na pasahero ang kayang i-accommodate niyan. Shawn?
Maraming salamat. Baka makatulong nga yung balita natin kasi pagpunta ko rito, walang traffic. Oo. Maraming salamat. That was News 5's Faith Del Mundo.
Ito lang si Gretchen. Wishful thinking ka na naman. Hindi pa ka nag-start eh.
Positive nga eh.
Hindi pa nag-start.
10 o'clock pa mag-start, guys.
Oh,
Exactly.
Hindi kasi
It's nothing to do
baka
with-
may forecast na kung 10 p.m. mag-start, baka biglang magdagsa yung mga tao. So I was so happy na walang traffic. Hindi ba?
Okay, but
Guys, makinig naman kayo sa amin.
how about we talk about it again on Monday? Tingnan natin.
Well, still on traffic, the MMDA has issued a clarification for motorcycle riders seeking sheltering under flyovers and footbridges during heavy rains. Speaking on 1PH sa Totoo Lang, MMDA Traffic Discipline Office Director Attorney Victor Nunez clarified that motorcycle riders can still change their rain gears or wear raincoats underneath the flyover, but they're no longer allowed to loiter there. Riders caught taking shelter for an extended period under the flyover will be fined 1,000 pesos. The MMDA began apprehending motorcycle riders taking shelter under flyovers and footbridges along EDSA last Tuesday.
Kapag nakapagpalit ka na ng kapote o rain gears, you should, go. Kasi marami pa namang motorista na kailangan ding sumilong para magpalit. Kasi kapag nakapag-change na ng rain gears, pero hindi pa rin sila umaalis, ang tendency po, lalaki at lalaki yung linyang kanilang kinakain. And that would be very dangerous.
Okay, ito, balik COVID tayo saglit. Here's a heads up to all those looking to get their COVID-19 booster shots. The Health Department says the general population can now receive the COVID-19 bivalent vaccine. In a radio interview, Health Secretary Ted Herbosa stated that the DOH's Executive Committee has opted to release the bivalent vaccines to the general public due to the slow uptake of the initial doses. Herbosa also admitted that the vaccine supply is dwindling as shots approach their extended shelf life expiration. Back in June, Lithuania donated about 390,000 COVID-19 bivalent doses to the Philippines. The health chief, however, mentioned that only 38% of those bivalent vaccine doses have been utilized as of end July.
Up next, make that 6 straight months. The country's inflation rate continued to decline for the month of July. The details when we return. Stay with us. You're watching the big story here on One News.
A little bit of good news for now in terms of economic data, and we're talking about how inflation has eased to a 6th straight month this July. Headline inflation settled at 4.7% last month, the slowest annual increase since March 2022. Look at that line. How beautiful is that? Headline inflation for January to July, meanwhile, averaged at 6.8%, still higher than the government's 2 to 4% target range. The easing of inflation was attributed to slower movements of prices in housing, water, electricity, and gas and other fuels. But take note, July inflation has yet to include the impact of Super Typhoon Egay, which of course could affect supplies of rice, vegetables, and other agricultural products. Egay's damage to agriculture has topped 4 billion pesos so far.
May mga items na tumataas, like ngayon, of course, rice and vegetables, no? Baka magkaroon pa yan ng impact itong August because of the typhoon. There are items that parang it create threat dun sa baba ng inflation, rice, vegetables, and then of course yung ating services.
Okay, kahit bumaba yung inflation, guys, gusto niyo ba ng sana all moment? Because officials from the Bangko Sentral have topped the list of the highest paid government officials in 2022. This was released by the Commission on Audit. Hindi ko to inimbento, okay? Let's check out that top 5 list. Slight, because the highest paid official last year was former BSP Governor Felipe Medalla, who took home 34 million pesos in salaries and allowances last year. At second place is Finance Secretary and also former BSP Governor Diokno with 28.7 million. He's followed by another BSP official, Monetary Board member Anita Linda Aquino with 26 million pesos. All officials from third place down to 14th are BSP officials. And except for Diokno, the highest paid non-BSP official in 2022 is Associate Justice Marvic Leonen at top 15 with 18 million pesos.
Gusto mo ba malaman kung ano pa yung mga nila, bonuses nila? Meron silang
Why do you
mid-year,
have to rub it
year-end,
in?
central bank, may international trips, merong productivity-related bonuses, confidential intelligence funds. But I also found out that in 2019, when former BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno was appointed, his salary was about 14.7 million salaries and allowances, tapos 19 million the next year. Tapos inapprove yung parang...
Di ba naging 7 million na
humingi
lang?
siya ng increase. Noong 2021, naging 41.8. So halos dumoble yung salary niya. So the next governor who will assume the position, dapat pareho yung o-offer pala. Kaya medyo tumaas. But apart from that, what would be the reason why BSP officials?
Because it's benchmarked to international salary standards. Because these are bankers. These are we're talking about the international standard
For central
banking,
bankers,
banking. Well, a few of them came from private banking, commercial banking.
So basically, generally,
Kinuha sila.
So naka-benchmark
Parang
yan.
kinai-rate sila
Correct.
from financial institutions.
The argument being they have to be the cream of the crop, right, in order to run a really functional, efficient, effective central bank.
Independent.
sabi nga naman
you
nila, you
need
get
to-
what you pay for.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I did a quick math when you were reading
Yeah.
the story. That amounts to about 2.8 million a month.
Sana all. I told you guys.
2.8 million a month. And talking about Gretchen's research on the big jump during Governor Diokno's time, that's more than the inflation rate at that time. So parang the salary was not just in keeping pace with the inflation, it was...
Which is normal, di ba? It's normal to increase, you tack it onto inflation, so sasabayan mo yun. Pero yung jump na yun is higher than our high inflation jump.
Correct.
But
But I
inflation
wonder
rate.
though if the officials or the board of the Maharlika Fund will have the same
That's a great
type of
question.
salary.
You should
Extra
ask
bayad
them
ba?
that.
Diba?
Oo.
Diba? May extra
Kasi
bayad ba?
sabi ni President, gusto niya the best of the best,
Yes,
financial
correct.
managers.
That's
Those
a
guys
good
don't
question.
contribute.
Exactly. So again, if you want to bring back, for instance, overseas Filipinos who have worked in global banks overseas, that's going to cost you, right? We're,
Parang
they would be
it's like our
used to-
new BSP governor. He came from a bunch of central banks, private banks, and I'm sure
He
mataas yung
served
sweldo
on the
niya.
board of the New York Federal Reserve.
We should
Central
publish
Bank of
this
New
more so the
York.
kids can dream of being finance managers.
Akala
and
ko si Gretchen
executives,
nag-iisip na mag-change na lang ako ng
Parang it's a little too late na, Gretch. Sorry.
Para sa ating mga senior citizens naman, speaking of too late, it's not too late. Senior citizens and persons with disabilities, here's a reminder from the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Online shops are mandated to grant you discounts. The BIR recently issued a revenue regulation which categorically declares the mandatory nature of the senior citizen and PWD benefits. There, it states that online platforms should recognize the mandatory discounts given to senior citizens and persons with disabilities. The agency noted that while the signature of the senior citizen or PWD is not needed if the purchase is made through online means, the individual's identification card number should still be provided. Senior citizens and PWDs are entitled under the law to a 20% discount and value-added tax exemption on certain goods and services from all establishments for their exclusive use, enjoyment, or availment.
Pareho lang ito, no? Yung whether online or yung normal na transaksyon, ganun din na ang patakaran dyan. Kung magiging entitled kayo dyan sa brick and mortar stores kapag bumili kayo sa normal na tindahan, at kung kayo ay entitled sa senior citizens discount or PW discount, ganyan din ang patakaran pagka online naman.
So will there be punishments for online sellers who don't honor the online discount for PWDs and senior citizens? Let's find out from Marlene Alcaide. Marlene, what's the answer?
That's right, Regina. Online sellers who do not provide discounts to senior citizens or persons with disability can be reported to the BIR. Under Section 7 of Republic Act 9994 or the Expanded Senior Citizens Act of 2010, any person who refuses to honor the senior citizen card issued by the government may be penalized by imprisonment and a fine of not less than 50,000 pesos. The business permit and other similar privileges granted to any person, establishment, or business entity that fails to abide by the law's provisions may also be canceled or revoked after due notice and hearing. The BIR is also reminding online sellers and stores that the IDs of the seniors and PWDs they receive should be treated with confidentiality. Regina?
That's certainly good to hear. Thanks for that, Marlene Alcaide.
Okay na ba to? Good news, bad news, good news, bad news. So, pansin ko na, parang na-alternate ng mga producers natin. Ito na, para sa mga motorista, brace yourselves because there might be another possible big-time oil price hike next week. According to oil industry sources, diesel prices could climb by as much as 3 pesos and 60 centavos a liter. Gasoline prices are seen to increase by 30 centavos per liter. The possible hikes follow the over 3 peso jump in diesel prices and 2 peso jump in gas prices from Tuesday of this week. The Energy Department had earlier said that oil prices are expected to continue going up in the following weeks due to output cuts from the group of major oil-producing countries known as OPEC. We're gonna pause for another quick break, but right after that, Eldru Yulo, younger brother of Olympian Carlos Yulo, completes a 6 gold medal sweep at the Palarong Pambansa. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The Cessna 152 plane that went missing earlier this week has unfortunately been located in Barangay Salvacion in Luna, Apayao, and sadly both the pilot and the Indian student on board did not survive. The remains of Captain Edsel John Tabuzo has been turned over to his family while the body of his Indian student Anshum Rajkumar Konde is being turned over to the Indian Embassy. The black box has also been recovered. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, has already suspended the aircraft's operator, which is Echo Air International Aviation Academy. Authorities are still investigating the cause of the crash.
For our good news, to counter that, muna naman tayo sa palarong pambansa. Just like his older brother, Carl Eldrew Yulo has made a name for himself as he completed a 6th gold medal haul in the secondary boys artistic events. The 15-year-old Yulo, younger brother of two-time world champion Kalo Yulo, ruled the floor exercise with 13,500 points while totaling 13.95 in vault, 9 in horizontal bars, and 9.250 in mushroom. Yulo also snared the gold in the individual all-around with 46.25 points and led NCR's gold medal win in the team all-around with 41.7 points Wednesday. Meanwhile, over in track and field, the so-called Palaro 2023 sprint queen Krisha Aguilion dominated the secondary 200-meter dash with a time of 26 seconds. Earlier this week, Aguilion also nabbed the gold in a 100-meter dash.
Di po talaga easy yung struggles ko during training. Of course, kahit umulan, of course. And may bad days talaga yung training. Kaya sobrang happy ko rin po na nagawa ko po yun lahat.
As for the overall medal tally, NCR remains at the top spot with 49 gold medals. They took over Western Visayas, who is at second with 44 gold, while South Tagalog Calabarzon is at third with 35 golds. The last day of the competitions will be tomorrow.
Alright, before we go, ito combine to ng bad news na naging good news. So combo. Our big picture tonight only goes to show that you can channel your inner rage towards something good. Just take it from rapper Cardi B. The microphone that she threw from on stage is now being auctioned for charity. Bids for the microphone on eBay is currently at close to $100,000. The Bodak Yellow singer made headlines over the weekend in Vegas after she threw that mic at an audience member who doused her while she was performing. Reports have it that the proceeds will go to a children and veterans charity in Las Vegas.
Wow, $100,000 for a mic.
That's another way to make money.
Right? Layo pa rin yata sa
Don't throw your mic at me, okay?
Gretchen, don't throw your mic.
Well,
don't
it's just a lapel mic, but if you ever, I don't want to sit next to this one.
So maybe you have to toss water and then we'll not do that on cam. That's it for the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.